Hello, my name is Andrew Thate from Minds and Money. And today, courtesy of Redcloud, I'm delighted to bring you Sean Samson, who's the President and Chief Executive Officer of EV Nickel. Delighted to have you with us, Sean.
Great to be here, Andrew. Thank you.
I was looking at your website and your tagline is accelerating the transition to a clean economy. How is EV Nickel doing that?
Sure. We are focused on helping the decarbonization through finding nickel, getting good low carbon nickel into the market. And as nickel is one of the key components right now of the battery chemistry, the world needs more nickel to be able to have electric vehicles, do that transition from internal combustion. And what we hope to be providing is a lot of that low carbon nickel to help that along.
And I understand that a key part of your mining project is the Shore Dome project. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Shaw Dome is where we're focused. So that's just southeast of Timmins, Ontario. Timmins is a famous mining town, but really known for gold production. There has been some historic nickel right down in the area where we are. We have consolidated over 30,000 hectares. We have over 100 kilometers of promising trend that we're exploring. And on that deposit, we have a few really interesting things. We have known mineralization with high grade near surface, which we've made an additional discovery on over the past year. That's our high grade business. Secondly, we have a low grade, or as we call it, a large scale deposit. It's a trend that goes for 10 kilometers of near surface 0.25% nickel. We've drilled 15% of that, and it's coming back as very consistent grades along that strike. So that could become an enormous resource. And then the third really interesting thing from down on the Shaw Dome is that there are additional high grade deposits that we know about, and there's a permitted existing concentration plant, a mill right on our site, just 7 kilometers away, owned by another company, a privately held company, who are investors in us. So the Shaw Dome has a lot of great stuff. It's all within a half hour of Timmins. It has known mineralization. It has a permitted plant, and it's right exactly where you want to be if you're going to be building a new nickel business.
So obviously, really exciting project in a fantastic jurisdiction. Let's hear a little bit about yourself and your management team. How did you come to get into the mining business?
Yeah, I came into the mining business about 15 years ago. First part of my career I spent doing trading at investment banks, and then I worked in consulting and private equity. But I came into mining 15 years ago, helping run one of the major gold companies called Kinross. I was there for 5 years, had a very large team spread around the world, and then left Kinross to go into the juniors. I helped run a private equity run company called F&I Mining that operated a deep underground mine just outside of Sudbury. So that was the nickel business. And we started EV Nickel last year when we spun this asset out of another company, a publicly traded junior called Rogue Resources. I also run Rogue Resources, but EV Nickel was a very promising deposit up in the Shaw Dome. And from there, we've been able to do transactions to triple our land package. And our asset is really the ground, the potential mineralization we have, but also we have a very strong team. And my VP of exploration, Paul Davis, is an expert in this type of geology. We've worked together for over a decade now. Paul is one of the global experts on the Komatiates, and that's exactly where we're drilling. He spent over 20 years of his career up in Timmins. And I think we have a very strong management team. In addition to underneath Paul, we have geos on the ground with whom I've worked with for many years. And then more broadly, we have a skilled board, half of which is located in Northern Ontario. So the stuff that we're doing, that we plan to do with EV Nickel, we have done before, discovered, developed, operated mines, and it's exactly in line with the background of my career.
Who are your major shareholders?
Yeah, we have a few small institutions that are in the stock, Toronto-based groups. We have a broad retail following and high net worth from Canada, the US, and Europe. There's a lot of interest in our stock from Germany in particular. So we are a broadly held stock. We have 2 groups that are over 10%. One is a Toronto-based institutional investor, and the second is the junior miner that we spun the initial asset out from, Rogue Resources. But we're broadly held. We have a tight float as well, just over 40 million shares outstanding. And we could talk about valuation, but I know everybody does these interviews and says that they're deeply undervalued. But when you look at us versus the comparables, especially considering the large scale deposit we're now talking about, we are absurdly undervalued.
So looking ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, what are some of the key milestones that investors can expect to hear from you?
Yeah, we're really excited about the next 6 to 12 months. So what we have on our immediate horizon is that we have news over the next couple months with the ongoing assays from our summer drilling on that large scale deposit. So once we've got those all in, we're then going to turn around and do a resource early 2023, a new maiden resource on our large scale, which we refer to as the Carr-Lang A zone. And that we anticipate is going to be a massive resource that'll look very similar to the starter resource of our neighbors up in Timmins, 70 kilometers away, up at Canada Nickel. So we've got a new resource coming in the first half of next year for that. Similarly, on our high-grade deposit, where we made a new discovery just beneath the existing historic resource, we're going to come out with a new resource on that one, which incorporates the new discovery. That will also be in early 2023. So we've got exciting news coming out right away on assays. Then after that, we have 2 resource reports we anticipate. And then from there, we're going to just keep moving along. On the high grade, we've begun the permitting process where we've applied for a mining lease. So that's going to be very interesting news flow over the next 6 months. And what we're trying to do, pedal down on this high grade business, is trying to be into production in 3 to 4 years. So in parallel with that, we have commercial conversations ongoing with this new demand category for good, clean nickel. And that's with the car companies. So Andrew, we have a lot going on and a lot we should be talking about over the next 6 to 12 months.
Mm-hmm. One final question for you. A lot of other nickel companies out there, a lot of other great projects out there. What makes you stand out from the rest of the crowd?
Yeah, I'd say a few things. One, we have known high-grade mineralization. So having 1% nickel within a few hundred meters of surface really should become a mine. So we have that known mineralization. And then the really neat thing is, as I mentioned, hoping to be in production in 3 to 4 years, that puts you in the room talking to the car companies and this new demand, because that's relatively near term. So we have real mineralization. And the reason that I think that we're quite real with that high-grade business is because 7 kilometers away, there's a concentrator plant. So that is permitted, it exists, it's ready to go. And if that doesn't work out for us, we're just a short drive north from Sudbury, where they are looking for additional high-grade ore. So we have that business, which is very real, and again, puts us in the room with the car companies. Then alongside that, we have this enormous large-scale opportunity up at Carr-Lang. So I think we have tremendous optionality in terms of near-term real business with our high grade, and then longer term, more blue sky type thing. Although I can show investors how it's 10 kilometers long and it's going to look a lot like what we've drilled this summer. So we have both sides. We have the exploration potential, plus we have this known business that we're permitting now and we're moving along on.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. We definitely wish you all the best. I'm sure we'll be hearing much, much more about EV Nickel. That was Sean Samson, President and Chief Executive Officer of EV Nickel, brought to you by Redcloud and Mines and Money. Thank you very much.
Thank you.